Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to Toastmasters Leadership Club. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Have a seat. Take your cell phone devices. Make sure they're on silent. Even vibrate makes a noise, so please make sure that they are silent or powered down. Ladies and gentlemen, the mission of Toastmasters. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The mission of Toastmasters Leadership Club, we develop and empower members to communicate and lead effectively in Toastmasters and in their personal lives and professional lives in their community. Ladies and gentlemen, show me your manuals. Both of them. Both of them. I'd like to see a CL in there. Please take a moment to pass your CL manual, your Competent Leadership Manual, on to another Toastmaster so that your role may be evaluated. At this point in time, it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce to you your Toastmaster of the evening, a past district governor, Miss Paula Foster.
Welcome everyone to the July 16th meeting of Toastmasters Leadership Club. How many people are here to be better leaders and better speakers and communicators?
Yo.
Hi. Well, we're all here for the same reason, but we're also here for all individually unique reasons. Tonight, our theme is Speak Your Mind. And it's one of the things that I found that I learned the most about was when I joined Toastmasters, was that I had a voice and I had something that I wanted to say. And so it was a real revelation for me to understand that about myself. Tonight we have two positions that are remaining unfilled, and that is our invocation and humorist. Does anyone have a quick quote or piece of inspiration for us? If not, I do. Bob?
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please welcome Bob DiMichelli for the inspiration.
I'm thinking of a July 4th hike I was taking with good friends. There were many of us up in the mountains, and I was lamenting to a friend, Steve. And Steve is a brilliant scientist, and he works for the Global Footprint Network. And the Global Footprint Network's goal is to measure all the resources that are available in the world and in your community, and then evaluate how those resources are being efficiently used. So he's just really knowledgeable about the world and environment. I was complaining with Steve. There's things that are just happening. The water is not here, and we're chopping down every tree, and there's not enough earth and air for all of us. It's just going on and on as we're taking this beautiful walks down a beautiful trail. And in the midst of it, he turned to me and he said, "Bob, we all go extinct." So I had to burst out laughing. Because while that is very true, in a million years from now, we all go extinct, it is very true to recognize that we are really in a moment, and we should enjoy every day. And although we recognize that there are things we can do to improve, and things about the world that we would want to change, a big portion of our life should be about embracing the good fortune that we all have. So I really thank Steve for letting me know that someday we're all going to go extinct.
Thank you very much, Bob.
I think I got a joke.
Okay, and let's welcome Abadilio with a humorous bit. Thank you.
Question for you guys is, why did the skeleton not cross the road?
What?
It didn't have any guts.
Oh! Thank you. Oh, man. Count on that man to always bring us a little bit of laughter. The next portion of our meeting is the explanation of our roles, and we have our general evaluator, Helen Wang, to present those people assisting her. Thank you.
As the general evaluator of the night, my job is to evaluate every aspect of the meeting. And I have 3 helpers with me today. And thank you, Randy, for volunteering. So I'll call upon each of the evaluators, and they'll all stand up and explain their responsibilities. So our counter for the night is Anna Lee. Anna Lee, would you tell us what you're going to do as an our counter?
Okay, so I'm going to note words and sounds, use the brush or pause filler, and then I'm gonna write down every well, but, so, you know, maybe, and that's what, and the creative words.
Thank you, our counter. And our grammarian of the day is Randy. Randy, would you give us your job responsibilities?
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. The grammarian, according to the Competent Leadership, page 74, the grammarian is an exercise in learning skills, or listening skills. The 2 basic responsibilities are to introduce new words and to comment on the use of the English language during the course of the meeting. Today's word of the day is reclaim. It's a verb. It means a speech. I can't read that far.
There's one right here. Pull that off, let him read that, and then stick it back.
Okay. To speak in a dramatic way or blistering way, to make an impassioned verbal attack, or to recite a speech or poem. I don't even know what that word is. What is it, studio?
With study or artificial eloquence.
With study or artificial eloquence. So I encourage everyone to use the word of the day, the claim. I'll be listening for the usage. The second role of the grammarian is, and I will talk about it briefly, is to listen throughout the meeting at people's word usage, to write down any awkward or misuse of the language, like incomplete sentences, change of direction midstream, or incorrect grammar or malpropriism. And then I will note who made those errors, and at the end of the meeting I will provide a comprehensive report. So as your grammarian, it's my pleasure today. I am always known to be declaimed in my speaking, so it's my humble opinion to encourage each and every one of you to also use the word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. And thank you, Tashina, to fill in Henry's shoe. Would you tell us your role as a timer?
So tonight I will be timing the prepared portions, the speakers, the round robin evaluation session, and the table topics. We have 3 different speeches tonight. 2 are 5 to 7, so I will be turning it green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6, and red at 7. They have 30 seconds to then wrap up. The third speech is 6 to 8 minutes, so it will be green at 6 minutes, yellow at 7, and red at 8, and also 30 seconds to wrap up. For the evaluation sessions, they're 3 to 5 minutes, so it'll be green at 3, yellow at 4, red at 5. And the table topics are 1 to 2 minutes, so it will be green at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. Thank you, Tashina.
I hope everyone enjoyed the good food, and I can't wait to start the meeting. And I'll return control to the Toastmaster of the night to start our meeting.
Thank you very much, Helen. Tonight we have 3 prepared speeches for you this evening. There is a small switch in the schedule. Speakers 1 and 2 are switching their positions. So Justin will be speaking first, Obadilia speaking second, and Thomas speaking third. Here at Toastmasters Leadership Club, we give the opportunity of presenting the objectives of the speech to the evaluator. And evaluating Justin's speech tonight is Bob. So Bob, could you stand and introduce the objectives of this presentation?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Justin's speech is going to You Can Write a Book. And this speech is going to be used to inspire us with some potential, some self-actualization. And Justin's going to share with us how he achieved writing a book and the benefits it taught him. And that's my evaluation.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's the objectives, great. At your places are this form, and I thought at the time we might only have 2 speakers, so everybody only has 2 of these. You might have to choose who you want to evaluate. I don't have enough for 3 each. There's an extra one up here though, somebody can have. Please fill those out for the speakers if you so choose, and then make sure they get them at the end of the meeting. As announced by the evaluator, Justin's presentation is titled, "You Can Write a Book." So please help me welcome Justin Mendez. You can write a book, and that you should. Justin Mendez.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, you can write a book. And you should. I know you can write a book because I just wrote a book. And if I can write a book, I promise you can write a book. Would you pass that around when you're done? Don't rush on my account. Randy, do you take photos?
Yes,
Why?
because I'm handsome.
That's true. That was the correct answer. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
You should never criticize me for telling jokes.
The reason I'm asking if Randy takes photos is because we all take photos, right?
Yes.
And it's because we want to remember the good times. Sometimes we want to remember the bad times. We want to remember the hardships that we've been through. But we also take photos because we want to have something to leave behind. I want you to write a book because I want you to leave something behind. Because I know that every single person in this room has something worth leaving behind. Eddie, I know you have reasons to write a book. I know there's a book floating around in that brain of yours. I know it. I know it because I've had conversations with you. I know it because every single one of you is an individual who has had special times in your life. And I know it because no matter what, no matter how many times each of us walks down the same street that every other one of us has walked down, you can never see it from the same 2 eyes that the other person saw it from. Every single one of us has a unique perspective that nobody else could possibly even try to grasp without us telling it. And that's why you should write a book. Now, you can write a book. It's so easy. I'm telling you that because I know. Because I wrote a book. And let me tell you something. People think it's a big deal. Other people who haven't written books think writing a book is a big deal. In a lot of ways it can be, and it feels really good. But I'm telling you, it was one of the easiest things I've ever done. So here's what we're going to do. Flip your evaluation form over. I want you to write down one thing that if you could share with your, I'm just going to guess the average age of the person here and say that we're all older than 20. So if there's one thing you could share with your 20-year-old self, what would it be? Or with the 20-year-olds of today, what would it be? Write it down. Just one thing, quickly. I don't have much time here. All right. Now I want you to write one thing that you hope you will remember 20 years from now. Just something quick, like my friendship with Ovidelio. Or the time I was running down to catch a BART train and looked up and saw Randy and yelled, "Hey, Randy!" We never even really talked before. one moment that for some reason you want to remember 20 years from now. Now the last thing I want you to write down. Something that you see a certain way that no one else could see that way. That means when you wake up in the morning and you see the sun rising, those thoughts, that's something. Or your view on the public school system. Your unique perspective. Who wants to share one?
I'll do it.
Randy?
First of all, you're brave to call me again. my number one would be make better choices.
Okay. Great. Perfect. I love it. Over to you, Leo.
To study self-growth, self-improvement.
That's what you would have told yourself?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Ellen?
Be more patient.
Perfect. I love it.
Savor coffee.
Savor coffee.
First thing in the morning,
It.
my perspective, savor coffee.
Okay. That's beautiful. I mean, savoring coffee, that's deep. It really is.
It's rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's rich, it's bold, it's got different flavors, there are different kinds. Something about it, never buy this man blonde roast coffee. Unless you never want to see him again. Buy him a gallon. That really is deep though. Because there are so many things in life that we don't savor. Right? It's stopping smelling the roses, taste the coffee, breathe. Those are the kinds of things that you could write a book about. And I'm telling you, each of you has a unique perspective. I know it. And the reason I brought this book in was so that you could see how real it looks and understand that it was not a difficult process, that it was an easy, simple process. Here's my hope. I hope that by the end of this, each of you will want to write a book, and maybe you won't be sure how, but you'll know that I can help you. And maybe I'll write a book with every single one of you in here, and we can write a Toastmasters leadership library to pass on to every other member who comes into our club. I don't know. It's just an idea off the top of my head. But my point is, consider it. That book cost me $2.15 to print. You can have all of your best ideas in a paperback version to share with generation after generation after generation. You can write a book, and you should. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Justin. Timer, could you give us 2 minutes for comments to be written? For those who are writing comments. Thank you, Ms. Tanner. And at this time, I'd like to invite our evaluator for Justin's presentation, Bob DiMichele, to come forward and present his evaluation.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Justin, for this speech. I know I now can write a book.
Yep.
So, what I really enjoyed about this speech was, does anybody actually know the title of Justin's book? Does anybody know the contents of his book?
No.
Because that was not the, well, maybe you peeked at the book a little bit during his presentation. But during the presentation, I don't think Justin ever talked about his book, and he did not talk about the content of it. His speech was about that you can write a book, and this speech was all about you. It was all about us. So I really think that you nailed it. Your speech title told me what you were going to talk about, and that's exactly what you talked about. What I loved about it was you got the audience involved. He's telling you that you could do something, and he actually asked you to do it. You took out a piece of paper, you wrote down some of your ideas, you wrote down a favorite experience, you wrote down something that you would tell a 20-year-old. So Justin really involved you and demonstrated that you could actually take part and write a book. You could come up with these ideas. Justin let us know that we all have a unique perspective, that no matter how many times we see the same street or we see the same perspective, each one of us has a different set of eyes, and those two set of eyes sees the very same thing. So I think that's great that we all can write a book. I mean, it's just this reinforcing this idea. I really think you really nailed it, and you did not allow a passive audience. You were calling on Randy, you were calling on Tyree, you were calling on all of us to take part and take part by writing and being involved in it. So I think a speech like that gets the audience involved really starts to compel them to do something and see what your message is. I think that how you finished your speech by actually even giving us an idea how we can work on it together, or we might work on a book together at Toastmasters library. We may not ever pursue that, but just to be able to come up instantly with an idea for a topic for a book that we all could be involved in, I thought it was a very good idea. So Justin, I think when you told me that 3 minutes beforehand that you were going to give a speech about you can write a book, and you presented a book to me, I thought you were going to talk entirely about your book, and it was great that you didn't. It was great that you told us all about what we could do, because that really was the function of the speech. You can write a book, and I think I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a few minutes. Can I have any other input from other Toastmasters, please? Yes.
As I've already shared with Justin, thank you, Bob.
Okay.
The sense of organization was lacking. You and I've had that, so I'm not saying anything new. Needs to be recognized. The thing that I did like, though, you started out strong, you kind of wound down into a California mellow, and then came back a little strong with you can write a book, that whole declamation of what it is, that action of being able to write. I also, the action that I saw, you were very discreet about it, but I caught it was when you came over to where Bob was sitting, because Bob was busy, had the book in front of him, you picked it up and you used the book in the gesture and then handed it off to someone else who could pass it around. You handed it off to Tyree so it can continue making the journey around the table. Nicely done, very discreet. Other things, some enunciations of words, all right. It's all right. So be either choose different words or make sure that you are clear in enunciating some of those words. Otherwise, I want to hear this again, but I want to hear it better organized, and I want to see Justin behind it, and not just something that you just created on the fly or something to that effect. I want to see your organization because you've got it. I need you to bring it.
Okay, thank you.
Justin, I also appreciated the fact that you involved the audience and made us think a little bit more than just kind of talking to us and saying you can write a book. You actually gave us some ideas of ways we could. In regards to the organization, I agree with Eddie that it seemed to be a little jumbled and you kind of repeated yourself. If you want to do a speech that is a little bit off the cuff, what you have to think of in those moments before you speak is, these are my 3 main points, and pick 3 things that you want to accentuate, and that will help that organization so that you know, and even if it's just a piece of paper that sits down on there and you say, okay, first thing is experiences, the second thing is this, The third thing is this. All of a sudden the organization comes together and then you don't end up repeating yourself throughout the speech.
Thank you, Paula. Yes, Randy.
Thank you, Paul.
Your name's not Randy.
Thank you. I agree with everything that's been said, to cut it short. I would just want to add that in that speech, it's actually a good number 10 speech if you hash it out more. What I want to learn a little bit about is the experience that you went through in writing your book so that I could relate to that. I understand that you probably felt pretty good about it and it went pretty easily, and you gave me some great ideas to try, but I'm not really sure if I could do it. But hearing more about your experiences and how long it took you and some of the ups and downs, I think that would be inspirational to me.
Thank you, Randy. Tyree. Red light. Go ahead. Thank you very much, Justin. It's been a pleasure. I'll share some other perspective with you during the break.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Our next speaker is another one of our young, inspired members. We are so lucky to have these young men in our midst because they keep those of us who are a little on the opposite side of the age scale as they are, it keeps us thinking that there's all this hope out there and we can definitely tap into it. Ovidelio is our next speaker, and his evaluator is going to be Tyree. Could you stand, Tyree, and give us the objectives of this presentation?
Yes. Ovidelio gave me his advanced manual on the professional speaker, and this is to be a keynote address. And so I'm going to give you these objectives, but his timing is going to be different. He's to identify the basic differences between a keynote speech and other kinds of speeches. He's to learn how to evaluate the audience's feeling and establish an emotional rapport. He's to also learn and use professional techniques necessary for a successful keynote presentation. And lastly, to develop a speech style and delivery that effectively inspires and moves the audience to adopt his views as a collective reaffirmation of its own. And now it says timing is 10 to 15 minutes longer the club allows.
Okay, thank you very much, Tyree. Please keep those in mind when you're making your writing your evaluations. Ovidelio came to the United States in 2006, and he has faced many adversaries, but has overcome them all. Tonight he will share some of his insights as to how to get to your goal by ignoring the naysayers. Please help me welcome Ovidelio Vasquez with Naysayers. Ovidelio.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, judges and guests. As you know, my name is Ovidelio. Came to the United States 2006. Overcame many adversities. If you heard my speeches before, you know what it is all about. If you haven't, you'll hear it in the future. But tonight is not about me. Tonight is about my brother. It's my brother. His name is Jose Francisco Chinchilla. Aviles is our same last name. I overcame many adversities in the United States. Undocumented, did not speak English. My mom wasn't here. I was 16-year-old working in a warehouse, box after box after box, going to school throughout the day, going to work throughout the night. Fast forward from 2006 to 2014, I bring my brother in. But check this out. When I had the great idea of bringing my brother in, I found some naysayers. Have you ever seen those guys around you? If you have, say aye.
Aye.
I too. I said, I want to bring my brother in. I'm doing great in the United States. And they said, no, it's too dangerous. He doesn't speak English. He doesn't have any paperwork. And I said, so what? Many of you have heard my speech, so what? Many of you haven't, but in the future you will. Have you ever had some naysayer talk to you out of your great idea? If you have, say aye.
Aye.
I too. But not on this one. Not on this one. We all have this great idea that means a lot to us, that can bring fulfillment to our hearts. That if we can make it happen, that if we can actually make it go, not to the point where you want it to be, but through the point where it's like a race. You're running to the finish line, but you go through it. So here's what I did. I called up my mom and I talked to her about the idea. She says, "You think he can make it?" I said, "The same thing as I did. Either he makes it or he doesn't. But he's coming." And he's here. About a month ago, 4 days ago, he decided to take the trip from Guatemala through Mexico to the United States and to today that he is here with us. He came all the way through Mexico and got to the border. Immigration caught him. They did not catch me when I came. It was easier for me. It wasn't as easy for him. But when he was in Mexico, people called, they said, "We need so much money for him to get through the United States." But this person, the naysayer, when I spoke to him, a family member, by the way, you see, sometimes you're going to have people that care about you, that don't want you to do certain things, that you do want to do them. Have you ever had those people in your life before? Me too. And I just had him about 25 to 28 days ago. He said, "No, don't do it. Don't send the money. They're going to steal your money. They're going to steal your money. What are you going to do if they steal the money?" And I said, "So what? I'm going to take the risk." I identified this guy, a family member who cared about me and my brother. And I said, he's a naysayer. So I'm going to speak my mind out today, and I'm going to declaim all these words in a certain way to give you an idea of what can happen when you ignore the naysayers. Because if you say no to the naysayers, you become one of them. And I didn't want to be one of them. I just wanted to ignore them. I sent out the money. The guy said, in about 3 to 4 days, he's going to be in the United States. I said, good. Fellow Toastmasters, you have seen myself and my girlfriend missing for a couple of weeks now. I was so freaking frustrated and stressed out because my brother is just 16 years old. I was also 16 years old when I was crossing the border. Have you heard the news lately? 50,000 young undocumented guys unaccompanied by their parents are coming to the border. He's one of them. But I took the risk. I ignored the naysayers. And that is a huge if I had listened to my family member who said, "Don't send the money. They're going to steal your money. You know, we got to be careful about your brother." He would have stayed in Mexico. And I would have probably had sent money for him to go back. And the dream was then dead. But I ignored the naysayer. The naysayer was identified and blocked out of my mind. As you have seen me before in my other speeches, I just go for it, follow through. My fellow Toastmaster, Justin Mendez wrote a book. Guess what? I wrote one too. But I ignored the naysayers. They said, "How can you write a book? You weren't born in the United States. You don't even speak good English. You have an accent. Your grammar is bad." But I said, I'm ignoring the naysayers. And that was not only one person. That was many of them. I ignored the naysayers. How many of you are with me that from now on, it is okay to ignore the naysayers, even if they're your family members? If you're with me, say aye.
Aye. Especially if.
That's right. That's right. We have to ignore the naysayers. Not say no to them because we become one of them, but from today on, we can say, block them out. We can say, no more. You know, when you're working towards your dream, your goal, your idea, here's what you can do. Here's what you can do. When they say, "No, Paula, don't do it. That's too dangerous for you." "No, Thomas, you're okay where you're at. It's too dangerous for you. Don't go there, Bob. Don't go. Here's what you can say. Shut up. I'm trying to do something here. Because aren't you trying to do something when the idea comes into you and you want to do it? There's laws of universe that said that if there's a wish put into your heart, if there's a desire big enough, it's because it is possible for you to make that idea come alive. My idea was to bring my brother here. I said, I'm going to bring him here the same way as I came here, and I'm going to teach him English, and the main three keys from me to him is going to be his determination. He was willing to give up his life just like I did. Now he needs the knowledge, just like I needed it. And I still need more, but I have more than he has, so I can get to share. So once I see his determination and use his determination with him, we can follow with the knowledge. I'm going to send him to school. But we decided to avoid the naysayers. You know what people said when he came by? To my house? I picked him up in the airport about 4 days ago in San Francisco. They said, what's he going to do now? Is he going to work in construction? I said, no. He's going to go to high school. And he's going to go to university. They said, no. Put him to work because he doesn't have any paperwork. I said, no. He's going to go to school. And he's going to go to university. There's this guy who's an naysayer. The same freaking guy. I mean, it's just crazy. People trying to protect you, right? They say protect you, but it isn't really protect you. I mean, you have all agreed with me that from now on, we're going to identify those people and just ignore them. You know, not tell them anything bad or arrogant and like, no, dude, you're not right. But you know what? I'm just going to decide to go with my gut feeling. Remember the skeleton? Did not cross the road? You better cross that road. It takes guts. It takes guts to say yes. I was willing because he was willing to give up his life. I was willing to also say, let me also go ahead and risk it for him. And you know what? He's here tonight. He's here with us, and you're going to see him develop and grow because I'm going to be bringing him. But all happened because we ignored the naysayers. After the determination and knowledge, we're going to go through the persistent key. Because just as I have been persistent on developing myself in the self-growth path from 2011 when I graduated high school, I discovered Think and Grow Rich, Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people, how to avoid worrying and living, and just these other great books. Now I'm going to teach him. The persistence. The great step that can take you not to your goal, but through your goal. Now look at that guy. His camera just fell, but he's going to be so persistent, he's going to pick it up and start recording again. That is persistent, is that right? If you're with me, say aye. Aye. That's right. We have to ignore the naysayers. Who do we have to ignore? Naysayers. Yeah, we have to identify it. And the first thing, as I said, instead of the $10, he just have to ignore the guy. And that's what I did for my brother. I ignored the naysayers. Even my family members said, don't do it, don't do it. But where did I learn this gut feeling that I got? From my mom. From my mom. My mom crossed that same border 6 times, ladies and gentlemen. 6 times. My mom only went to school 3 through the 3rd grade. But he has guts. I mean, she has guts. That's right. That's how you know I'm learning English, right? Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So, the reason I'm here today, sharing this story, here's why. Because I decided to ignore other naysayers. Have you ever heard people say, maybe not you, but maybe you heard other people say to other people, they have told me the same thing. Don't say that you're undocumented. And I said, so what? Because you know what? Maybe one day I'm gonna be giving a speech, and there's someone going to be sitting in the audience who's going to have the key for me to unlock that door that I'm still looking forward to unlocking. And by the way, I'm already going through the process to unlocking the door. But it's the persistence. It's the persistence. Someone told me, don't say that you're a professional speaker because you still have an accent. I said, come on, dude. Guess what? I get paid $500 to speak, sometimes for only 30 minutes, sometimes for 1 hour. I never got paid even $20 an hour before. But what is the key? My key first was my determination to come to the United States. I got some knowledge in school and in the self-development field. All the books, all the seminars, all the conferences. I mean, we went to meet the guy from the ABC Secret Millionaire TV hit show, James Malinchik. The guy is a millionaire. He's like, hey, sure guys, let's take some pictures, 4 days with the guys. I was looking for some more knowledge. And now, the persistence. The persistence that still is an ongoing process for me as I am here today, because I'm not done yet. I'm like a shoe who needs to be cleaned up a little bit more so it shines a little bit more. This is supposed to be a keynote. It's not the most perfect keynote you have ever heard, is it? No, maybe not, right? That's right. And it's okay. I'm okay with it. Because, you know what? My persistence will take me to that keynote that you were probably expecting today. But I'm going to ask you, when are you going to take your persistence to your goal and idea? That someone in your family who you have agreed earlier on that said that you have a naysayer who took you out of that idea, when are you going to take the determination to go through with that idea? When are you going to take the determination and to go to take the knowledge to maybe, we're all here learning how to speak better, why not get paid? I mean, my fellow Toastmaster just told us how to write a book, gave us some ideas, but if you can write a book, you can certainly speak because you have spoken for years. I mean, everybody speaks. Some people get paid. When are you going to get that knowledge? When are you going to be persistent enough so that you say, you know what? Let me find out how this guy gets paid. Let me see how long it takes me to start getting paid. Because when I heard that this guy was getting paid because he speaks on video games, I said, oh, video games? You gotta be kidding me. But guess what? There is an audience for you. And so the three keys, determination and knowledge and persistence, but ignoring the naysayers. Ladies and gentlemen, officially, officially, please help me welcome my brother. Welcome to the United States. Take those keys with you. Ignore the naysayers because dreams do come true, especially in America. Thank you.
So now we're going to give you, now we are going to give you 2 minutes to make some notes for overviewing the speech. I read to do his evaluation.
Thank you, brother. And I want to thank Justin for mentioning me in his book. I want to declaim that. Goes to that chapter. Just get you down to business. Ovidio, this was a keynote address, and I'm not sure if the timer put this at 10 to 15 minutes. I think it was more than 5 to 7. And it deserves more than 5 to 7 minutes. I'm going to go through the guidelines in this manual, but I'll add some other things to it as well. What did the speaker do to arouse the audience following the introduction? You have great energy, good movement, and your inflection of a voice shows that you're passionate about the subject matter. The next question, though, does go to the objectives of a keynote speaker, and it said, did the speaker communicate to the listeners that he was united with them in bonds of sympathy, common experience, or understanding? I wasn't sure if you had established that that bond of common experience is something that I think with more time can get us to unite with you with this empathy that you want. But that came through in the conclusion, not in the beginning, when you brought your brother on. But you do have a lot of passion, and it's conveyed in a very personal manner. You're energetic. You made the audience care about your subject mainly by having your subject present among us. This was not just a story we heard about. This was someone who was here present with us. You used word pictures that I think were pretty captivating. And we talked about shining your shoes and just moving forward. The last thing that it covers here is, did the speaker give the audience a final thought to take away after the speech? What was it, and what manner of closing did you convey? So the final thought that I got was determination, knowledge, and persistence. But what you didn't say, that I thought was embodied in your embrace with your brother, was that love conquers all. That came through loud and clear. So as much as we have this path and things that we want to accomplish, I would like you to think about including the motivations that really get the rest of the audience to move forward with the kind of energy and passion that you have. So those comparative techniques, because when you talk about the naysayers, I heard it very clearly, and you had the audience agree with you, but you have to give the naysayers or your opposition some credence, some weight, so that then when you give your oppositional points, you have even more weight. Just because you say they're naysayers, you make them seem like they're lightweights.
Right.
Right? So give them their fair due. But your argument stands on its own and is higher than theirs. But it's not as though they're just lightweights. Oh, just because they said that, they didn't care. Well, they may have had their reasons, and therefore acknowledge that logic. And then that helps build yours with your logic and your passion. And I'll open it up to the rest of the audience. Justin.
Thank you, Terry. Really powerful conclusion. Obviously, I think we can all agree on that. One thing that you touched on just now, Terry, that I mentioned for improvement was you did the they care about you thing. And to me, that sort of implies that we're saying they don't really care. But to them, they probably do really care. And they may be wrong, and you may think they're wrong, but this to me implies like they're doing it intentionally to try to mess with your plan and to just be negative for the sake of being negative. But I think a lot of those people, they really, really sincerely believe that they have your best interest in mind. And I think that it helps to, kind of like you said, to sort of acknowledge that. So I just kind of wanted to build off a little bit of what Terry was saying, because that was really the only thing for improvement that I wrote down. Otherwise, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Justin.
I thought your passion was overwhelming. You had us in your grasp. If you came up to here a little bit more, you would actually be touching our hearts. I mean, you already had our attention, and you came up halfway. I almost wanted to do a high five, but I couldn't. Because you had us in your grasp. I would have come all the way up here.
Anybody else? I'll come back to Justin.
So this just came to me. If you're planning on doing the speech again, especially for this group of people, because you're mentioning how you can connect with people, right? Look at what a diverse room we have in here. My grandparents, and probably nobody in this room knows this, but my grandparents came here illegally from
Justin,
Mexico.
you're killing me on time.
Yeah.
But continue. I'll give it up. I forget it. Go.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that that's one way that you could connect with every single person in this room is our origin. Every single one of us probably came from somewhere or knows someone who came from somewhere or who has a family member that we wish we could reach back, even if it's someone who's passed away, we wish we could reach back into the past and pull them to where we are in our physical realm, like you've done with your brother.
Thank you, Justin, for declaiming that wonderful bit of wisdom with us.
Declare.
Thank you, Ovidio.
I want to present you with a certificate from the club. We gave these out at our recognition dinner a couple of weeks ago, and you weren't with us. This is for completing your competent communicator. Before we move on to our last speaker, I would like to introduce a guest that we have in the back of the room. Could you please stand and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you. Toastmasters. My name is Forrest Sam. I was invited by Mr. Tyree Johnson, and I'm the new Area 18 governor, so I'm visiting and hoping to work on this position as part of the HPR project. Yes. Thank you.
Excellent.
Great. And Elio, could you introduce your brother, because you say his name so fast I couldn't quite hear it all.
Okay, so this is my brother Francisco, Jose Francisco, and as I said, he's 16, came like 3 days ago, and he's gonna be coming. He's probably gonna become a member. I don't know how he's gonna do the speeches or something. But, we'll figure that out, or he's gonna come and learn for that.
Thank you.
Then he learns English. Yeah.
Our final speaker of the evening is Thomas Clooney, and I would like to ask his evaluator, Justin Lola, to please stand and give us the objectives of this presentation.
Evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Thomas's speech, he is giving number 5 in the Competent Communicator Manual, which is Your Body Speaks. His objectives are: use stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact to express your message and achieve your speech's purpose. Make your body language smooth and natural. He is speaking 6 to 8 minutes, Madam.
Thank you, Justin. Thomas studied for 3 years at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. He discovered that it was necessary to learn to speak, sing, move, dance in long tights, and improvise. Tonight you will learn about Laban movement. Rudolf van Laban created a set of 8 basic effort actions. For instance, to press, thrust, slash, ring, glide, float, flick, or dab. Please help me welcome Thomas with basic effort actions.
I will move this for an action. Believe it or not, this man called Laban, he was a dancer one time, don't know too much about him. He actually thought about the movements he used. Now, way back, Leonardo, we know, took corpses apart to discover how they were built to help him with his paintings. But he struck it down with these basic 8. Do you remember them? Well, let's go through them. And what I'm suggesting tonight, we have a very dynamic speaker, Ovidio, who's put a lot of energy, but he was really driving a point. What I'm going to do is sprinkle some seeds, and maybe some of this will sprinkle up and pervade your thoughts. A lot of people stand at the audience in Toastmasters, they stand like that. They have one action, no movement at all. Others, like you're a bit of a thruster in my 8 times. Let me go through them as examples. The first one is press. Now, when we think about it, there's a word press, or the presser. But when we press, we actually do it in several ways. There's the physical one. If I was to exert motion on you physically, like a wrestler might, or a very large man, that's one. Then there's also the emotional way you do it. And there's also the physical way you do it. That's what I'm really evoking, the physical way it's done. The presser, be an example, would be a large heavyweight. That would be a boxer or a wrestler. But it could also be a very powerful man who just speaks very quietly. In Joel Schultz's phrase about the foreign secretary, most, he says, shout loud to carry a very small stick. It's better to carry a large stick and speak very quietly. Then they tend to read your language and pay attention. The next one is your type, I think, the thruster. Now, if we look at the motions, the thrust is simply that. With a swords person, for example, or a direct punch, that's a thruster. And if we move on from there, we look at that and the actions we see people around us. You're a bit like that. Some of your forces, your movement is very powerful and very direct. I think you want it that way. There's another type that leads on from that, and it's called, what do you believe? The slasher. And the slasher goes like this. This, if he was a knife, he'd be Jack the Ripper. But you see what I'm saying? If you just consider this, the way people move, and if you think about someone in the room, I just gave a couple of examples, and there's other people, what is their body type, or how do they move? I'm dealing with the stronger ones at the moment. What have we done? The presser, the thruster, the slasher. The last one of the strong one is the ringer. Now, if you imagine a towel in the old days before we had washers and dryers, they put the heavy clothing and they put it through this wringer and they would crank it around to squeeze the water out. You think about people like that. And another way you wring is people do it with anxiety. And then you think about the facial expression. Or the wrestler would too, putting that choke on. Does it make any sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go to the softer side. We always talk about hard sell and soft sell. You gave a real hard sell in your speech, and I consider the future doing the soft sell. We'll talk about the soft sell. One would be a balloon. You know, people like this, a balloon, it just floats. Floats. And whatever the wind blows, it's going to move it. And you know people like that too. They don't have a lot of substance, or whatever their personality type is, often they're very soothing and easy to get along with. They'll be like that. God. I remember, please. The glider. Well, I have done gliding with a plane, but there's another glider, personified by the kind of guy that moves like this. Dances. Picks up tips. Works in Las Vegas. That's one, so you can consider that. And another one is the, well, I already covered the floater and the glider. Then we get down to the flicker. The flicker might even be just, if he's a powerful guy, it might just be, well, take care of it. Oh. A gesture with the eyebrow. Raise the eyebrow. And the last one's a dabber. And they're going around dabbing on things. I hope it made some sense. When I went to drama school, somebody came in my second year there and they told us about this. And then we used to go out and they would say, you do all these exercises, you have all these tights on and stuff, and you make these very extreme. But then when you play a part, and you've got to play someone, one of these types, and the character could be several blends, several types. You just take a little of that into consideration. So I offer it to you. Many people when I see in Toastmasters, I'd say their physical skills are pretty basic. You could expand it a lot more. Same with our vocal one. We don't go up and down enough. Soft voice, loud voice, same thing. We did this because drama, you've got to act it up, you've got to do very large dramatic things. But I think it would still help you. We know very, very well, and I've seen this more than once, somebody will build in speech, you see this in politics, they'll go, if you believe this. I saw Al Gore do this technique. If you believe this, and he raises his voice. And he does this action too, a slash action. If you believe this, if you believe this, if you believe this, then pause, you must take this action. And the whole audience stood up and applauded. So it does work. But that, I call you the action.
Thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Please give our speaker 2 minutes, or yourself 2 minutes, to make some comments for our speaker. If somebody isn't using any of their evaluation forms and somebody is needing one, please pass them around. One here. Anybody needs a third one? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks. Oh, and then one more. Minute. Seconds. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to invite Justin Lola up to present his evaluation for Thomas's presentation.
Evening again, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. I thought Thomas did a fantastic job. Actually, I think this is one of your best speeches, because you started out moving the left turn, so you could talk to us, you can engage with us. I was looking for your tights, though. I wanted to see those tights, because when I was growing up, I also was a dancer. That's another speech.
I thought it did.
Well, now.
You were awesome, Thomas. You had such great gestures when you were explaining or describing the different 8 movements. And then your voice inflections, I mean, everything you were saying, you were emphasizing, you know, what they were, and you emphasized how important they were, and you gave great examples. For example, the presser, the slasher, the thruster, right? It was amazing, because I could picture it, I could see it, and I can touch it. So you were awesome. We were all engaged, obviously, because of that, because of your gestures, because of your actions. And I liked your ending, call to action. And it's so true, because in Toastmasters, we are a lot standing still. We're not moving around very much. We're not engaging with the audience, because we're not comfortable doing so. We're not. Some of us are a little bit more comfortable. Some of us are getting there. So, open it up to the rest.
Thomas, I appreciate these ideas, because it really does help us to identify different ways that we could move our bodies that are specific. I would have loved to have heard you give us a personal, not for you, but a person as an example, like you did for Al Gore. That was really clear, and then we could identify this, but maybe try and track down somebody, some actor or politician or whatever, that uses that movement, because we could probably then easier to identify with what that looks like. That might be a suggestion.
Thanks, Paul. Tyree first.
Make sure you didn't call Randy. Thomas, your metaphorical devices really compound your gestures with the language and the primary talking points. So that was masterfully done. You have tremendous knowledge, and for me, your area of improvement, which was obvious, committed all these things to memory. I think you can do that. But the other thing would be if you recap each of these movements in your conclusion. I think that would have really brought everything together. Aside from that, this is my stretch goal for you, that I think you could give us all value as well as develop your future speeches. Give a speech on each one of these movements. Make it a series of speeches for us. And I think you would learn, we would get that knowledge, and I think we could all grow to be better speakers. I'd like to
Randy.
Oh.
Thank you, Justin. 2 points. When you started your speech, you mentioned some guy named Laban. But then you said I didn't know very much about the guy. Now, considering you studied at the Royal Academy of London, the London Academy, oh, such a Royal. Considering you studied him, I would have expected that you would have some background information about it. But if you didn't, I wouldn't have said that. Kind of deterred from your credibility. You know, clearly you know your subject. In fact, it's a fascinating subject. Because I was looking it up on the internet when you started, so there a lot of information. But keep in mind that it was a great subject. I enjoyed it a lot. I got a lot out of your speech. But I also wanted to know a little background on it.
Thank you, Randy. 30 seconds,
30 seconds, I'll be quick. Actually, there was a demonstration of the thruster when Thomas pointed to Ovidilio, talked about some other gestures and pointed to Tyree, and Alcor. So we did have 3 examples, and I kind of wish with all these, the presser, the slasher, the ringer, the floater, the glide, all of these were great, wonderful imagery words, and I kind of wish you focused on 3 of them with the anecdotes or the examples that you gave tonight, and then recapped on the grocery list of other items. But well done, well done.
Thank you, Eddie. Excellent.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Thank you. We are going to hit our break time mark, but first I would like to have a quick report from our timer as to our speakers. Did they all qualify? There are little small pieces of paper here, and that's for us to vote on the best speaker, the person you thought completed their objectives the best, and the best evaluator. So our speaking things, did all speakers qualify or not?
Not all of them. Justin was 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Ovidilio.
7:19 is good.
Yeah, it was 15 minutes, 1 second, and Thomas was 6 minutes, 39 seconds. Oh, so good.
Good. So all 3 speakers, please you can just put the name down on there, I'll figure out who they are, and if you could pass them around to me up here. And then our evaluators, did they all qualify?
Only Justin.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on best evaluator. At this time, I would like to call a 5-minute until, what's our time here? 8:20. Now how about if we come back at 8:15 so we can catch a couple of extra minutes?
I guess how.
So.
I'd like to get us restarted so we can stay on point with our timing.
To other parents.
We're going to have an exciting, interesting, fun, serious, who knows what kind of table topic session tonight, led by our very own club president, Eddie Cater.
Yay! Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. For the benefit of everyone, table topics is a chance to exercise our extemporaneous speaking powers. Speeches are from 1 to 2 minutes. You'll see the green at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5, and the red at 2 minutes with a 30-second grace period. You must use the word of the day, declaim. Declaim is like a speech or an oration. Ask not what you can do for your country, what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country is a declamation or declaim. I have a dream was a declaim. 407 years ago, beer. Abraham Lincoln. All right, I won't do that. I have some questions here. You'll have a chance to declaim your own ideology, politics, beliefs, philosophies. I'm going to challenge you. First, you're a guest here, and you're also a Toastmaster, so you're experienced at this. Come on up.
All right.
Yeah! I have a question here for you, sir. Sure. John Lennon in the 1960s wrote, "Give peace a chance," and that was during the, there was a lot of things going on. It was all about property. Northern Vietnam was coming down and invading South Vietnam. The French wanted this, and people wanted that. Today we've got the Israelis and Palestinians fighting over a strip of land, the Gaza. We've got people infighting here in this country over stupid political stuff. Give peace a chance. What's your claim to fame?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, and welcoming guest and guest. Give peace a chance. I believe it was said that if we all understand each other, there will be no war. As long as we understand each other. And the problem is miscommunication. We have one way or another, in different languages, Chinese with the Japanese, Israelis with the Palestinians, one way or the other, we have miscommunications and eventually lead to conflicts, leads to wars, casualties. And to me, the fundamental thing is to look at people not by their color of their skins, but by the content of their character. I'm quoting from Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. And might as well, I just repeat the speech, present the speech again to you as in memory of Martin Luther King. I have a dream. My 4 little children, one day lived in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of the position nullification. One day right there, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. Thank you.
To quote another politician, "Do I do not? There is no try." I'm glad you like that, Paul. That's yours. Do or do not, there is no try. Declare.
When I started in Toastmasters, I was a very, very quiet person. Through the years, I've learned a lot about what I have to say to the world. And when I was asked to become a district leader, I thought to myself, I don't think I could do that. And I had to stop myself from that kind of thinking. I declaimed in my head that what I had to do was do it. I couldn't think about it, because if I thought about it, I'd be that naysayer that Ovidilio was mentioning to myself. I convinced myself that I couldn't do it, shouldn't do it, won't do it. And instead I said, I just have to do this. I have to do this. And sometimes those kinds of roles in your life come across and you just say, I don't care how nervous I am about doing it, how much I think I can't do it, whether I should do it or not, do I have enough time, do I have the skills, do I have the knowledge, and you just have to say, I'm not going to worry about that. I am just going to do it. Mr. Toastmaster.
There's this neighbor on the block. Everyone knows that neighbor. Everyone takes care of their homes. They have rain barrels catching the rainwater and reusing that water to water their gardens. They have green cars in their driveways. Either it's the Toyota Prius or some other electric car, something to that effect. Meanwhile, the neighbor has his oil furnace exhaust and black smoke and big tires and doesn't care about the water running down the driveway because there's no spigot on the hose and wasting water in this drought season. So, Justin, what are you going to do about that neighbor?
Ooh.
Yes, I have the big truck coming down the road every day. And he's going a good 40 miles an hour in the 25 mile zone. And a couple times, I declare I'm not a policeman. I went up in the road to try and slow him down. I said, hey, you're going too fast here. You need to slow down. So he just weaved around me and kept going. I saw him come again. This time I had cones. Made the road smaller. Put cones on both sides. And I said, you gotta slow down, buddy. He knocked those cones down. So then I followed him home one day. I said, yo, bro. I have a 9-year-old little girl that crosses the road sometimes. And these are little kids. They don't know, you know, what, that the car's coming by 40, 50 miles an hour. You're going to kill them. You need to slow down. Don't you have kids? And it just hit him. So the next time I saw him, he slowed down to 20. He says, what up, bro?
New project at work. Got to hire 50 people. Hire 50 people, but the management wants you to get each candidate to show you, since you're conducting the interviews, their Facebook pages. Tashina, how are you going to handle that?
Whoa.
Well, I happen to work in tech at a social media company, so that is a very common occurrence. And what you want to do is look and see, one, are they dumb enough to make it public? If they are, all bets are off. Everything can be used against them. People should make it private. Even then, you never know what's going to come up. So I really just want to make sure that you have all your filters set and you untag those incriminating photos, which for my generation are from college, and those are not something you want people to see. So that's mainly what we look for, is just basically checking, you know, did they cross their T's? Did they dot their I's? Do they really realize everything on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn? That's all public. That's all crawled by Google. All we have to do is type in your name, and those terrible pictures are going to show right up for us. And you kind of figure out, are they trustworthy? Are they sketchy? Do they have a good sense of humor about themselves? And you see how they respond in the interview to any of those questions you might have.
Nice job, nice job. Time for a couple more. Let's do this one. Ken. At your place of employment, you observe a manager who likes to come in late and leave early, and yet he writes the entire crew, "Be here on time!" Speak to that manager, sir.
Yes. Well, before I spoke to him, I think I would video record his frequency. And then when it's time to speak with him, I think he would get the message. I would not only do that, but I could use that video to show others. That is a valuable video. When you have a video of something you can show to somebody and they get the message, it's the next best thing to being there. And it creates business you won't forget. So this manager won't forget, because if he's going to be tenacious, I'm going to embarrass the guy. I'm going to let people know that he is full of shit. Oh! And should not be respected, and ultimately tell the people who control him of the problem, and then we'll solve it. Thank you.
We have those family members, so Ovidelio spoke to that earlier, about who are either naysayers or say something that's colorful and insulting, especially when it's about somebody who is either famous or somebody that you really truly admire or a close friend, and they just don't like their politics or their beliefs. So Helen, what are you going to say to that family member who is saying something off color and distasteful? Helen.
I'm a big fan of LeBron James. And he's going back to play for Cleveland next season. I know lots of people from the South or from the East Coast might not like it. And one of my colleagues is one of them. And I would call him my friend, but not anymore. He has followed my Twitter and posted incriminating remarks on the event. And the next day, he saw a handwritten piece of paper on his desk. Because he made personal calls during like work hours, and he talked very loud in his home, in his native language, and people kind of complained, but no one had the gut to tell him right to his face. So me and my fellow colleagues, we sat down, and I wrote a letter with my left hand, just so he wouldn't know which one of us knew about this, and he got the message. Well, it's not kind of a way of punishing him for saying those, but sometimes people should be respectful of different opinions, and this is the lesson he should learn.
Are you left-handed?
I could be.
At this point in time, I would like to first call on our timekeeper. Did we have anyone that spoke for less than a minute or more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds?
Ken spoke for less than a minute.
Okay.
No one else would be on 2 minutes.
And who?
No one.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Sorry, Ken, you didn't make the cut. And with our grammarian, who used the word of the day?
Sorry. I'm sorry, Randy.
You got me. For table topics, the following two people, Justin and Paula. Did I miss anybody for table topics?
To use the word of the day, no.
Forrest? No? You mean just for table topics?
Yeah,
He
this
gave
is
a
just
great
for table
example of
topics.
the claim.
This is just for table topics.
Yeah.
You did?
Okay.
One more.
No, only two.
Oh,
You're
thank you.
Okay. All right. Justin and Paula are qualified. Justin spoke Prius versus pickup truck, and Paula, she will try. She will do. She will do. She should. Please take a moment now to write either Justin or Paula's name, fold it, and hand it over to Paula's desk. We will claim that vote, and at this point in time, Madam Toastmaster, I return control to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Topic Master. And I'm going to invite our general evaluator up to make the presentation or to evaluate the meeting. Call for the reports.
Everybody knew me would know I was never here on time. And today I was actually early.
Wow.
And gave me a whole new perspective of seeing how the meetings are set up. How Eddie and Paula and everyone else actually prepared the whole meeting for everyone here. And I kind of want to give them a round of applause to Eddie and Paula. Let's thank When I walked into the meeting, it was a whole different setup. It was like a classroom setup, and it was because of them who made everything possible for us. We introduced the guest, although the guest was introduced in the middle of the meeting, and that's definitely appreciated. And they're also called upon during the table topics. I also want to mention that there are a couple speakers and role players who didn't use the proper terminology when they return control to either the Toastmaster or the table topics master. So we should always use returning control to instead of other words. I heard returning control over and other stuff. And let me call upon my evaluators and give their reports for the night. Emily, would you give us your report at the outcome?
Okay, so for the counters, for Auxilio, I counted 2 I's, and he repeated I like 4 times, and 1 so, and he said he said he instead of she, and then for Justin, he said I know like 9 times, I guess. And then Thomas is clean, Bob's clean, Justin's clean, Justin Lola is clean. Paula said 1 so. Randy is clean, and he said the word of the day. For Eddie, he's clean, and he said the word of the day.
I stuttered a lot tonight.
Paula, she's clean, and she used the word of the day. Justin Lola is clean, and he used the word of the day for table topics. Sheen is clean, Ken is clean, and Helen's clean, and remember? Forrest, you're clean as well. And,
Thank you.
What order did you hear? I mean, so you didn't hear.
Randy, yeah, I said you were clean.
You said Randy.
That's Tyree.
No,
He thought he was Randy earlier too, so
Don't
feel bad.
You might be Randy, but you know.
Don't feel bad. It's totally Eddie's fault.
What? Okay.
Okay, let's hear from Randy. That's Randy for sure.
I'm not really sure now. I have a question before I give my report. We have a counter and a grammarian. And there's significant overlap. So I won't repeat the odd counter part. I'll just deal with verbal gems and word of the day. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. Obadilio said, sent out the money. And I think he meant to say, and I sent the money. And I also have here, oh, guys, I know what it was. And then when he was talking about the children that are having difficulty coming into this country, he used the word the guys. And I believe there's both sexes as well as very young kids. Thomas said, he referenced Leonardo. And Leonardo is really Leonardo da Vinci. So in the context of his speech, I was thrown off only because I couldn't quite connect it. But he did say something that was very interesting, and that is sprinkle some knowledge or sprinkle out seeds. The following people use the first word of the day. Paula used it during table topics, Tyree used it during the course of his speech, Eddie used it, he also used the word declination, and I also have Justin who used it as table topics. Did I miss anybody? By the way, to do this, it takes a thief to catch a thief. This is one of the areas that I really need to work on to improve. So did I miss everybody on the first word of the day? All right, and Paul?
Paula used it.
I have Paula.
Okay.
And no one used the second word of the day. Which was Toastmaster of the Year, Randy Ellen. Oh yeah. By the way, the name is misspelled, I know.
Oh, Blinkington. Blinkington.
Back to you.
Oh, snap. I think this was the first one made.
He's doing
Sample.
Congrats, Randy. Hope they get the name right next time.
Yeah, it's going to be right this time.
And Michelle, let's hear from you on the time report.
Presentation, Bob was 1 minute 27 seconds. For humorist, Obadilio was 13 seconds. For the prepared speeches, Justin was 7 minutes 19 seconds. Obadilio 15 minutes and 1 second, and Thomas was 6 minutes and 39 seconds. For the evaluation sessions, Bob's was 5 minutes and 39 seconds, Tyree's 6 minutes and 7 seconds, and Justin Lola's 5 minutes and 26 seconds. When it came to table topics, Forrest was 1 minute and 59 seconds, Paula 1 minute 23 seconds, Justin Lola 1:38, I was 1:14, Ken was 50 seconds, and Helen was 1:33.
Thank you, Justina.
Thank you very much, Helen. So to wrap up my portion of the meeting, I would like to make the announcements of the winners.
That's the last thing.
Pardon?
We do that as we close.
Okay, then
I'll let you do that.
I'll return control then to the meeting, to the president.
All right.
That's all I've got.
I have a very short business agenda to conduct tonight, but first, let's begin with our meeting roles for next week. Are we ready to go? Madam Vice President of Education, Paula Foster.
Thank you very much. Mercy is our Toastmaster. Inspiration, Tyree. Humorist, Eddie. Timer, Annalie. Odd counter, Eddie. We have 2 HPL presenters, Joan Funkhauser and Mary Verghese. We need an evaluator for Joan's speech. Randy is evaluating Mary's presentation. Table topics is Tyree, and I'm looking for, and Jean is grammarian. Sorry, I got that. I need an evaluator and a general evaluator for the meeting tomorrow, so if anybody isn't doing anything. Justin?
Just a quick question.
Yes?
Should we be contacting you directly versus going on the website?
No, go on the website. I didn't have Mary on there, but I know that she told me that she, or at least I think, I had Joan written down that she was doing her presentation, but I didn't have Mary on that. And then for the rest of the meetings, I'll be sending that out, getting that up online.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Wow. Keep the cards and letters coming, boys and girls. As far as our roles and assignments, they're important and vital. If Paula is running behind, it's okay to crack the whip. Last night, our officers met. We were minus a few, but we had a quorum last night. We made a decision last night as to an additional role. One of the concerns is the fact that we are in a maze. It's easy enough to come through the front door, but once you're in the front doors, then what? So one of the things that we discussed last night was the idea of creating a role called greeter. The primary responsible role of greeter would be to be here 10 to 15 minutes early, stationed downstairs, and assist with signage. That's where the Sergeant-at-Arms has signage. Assist with the signage, and then direct members and guests to this room. And at 7:05, you would come upstairs yourself. Now, we voted on it as an officers because we believe that this could work as far as our hospitality and our welcoming. We'd like to get our club input and vote. That means I need to hear a motion. May is there anyone who would like to entertain that motion? That we accept the officer's decision.
I'll state it, I heard, slightly heard, we need to put someone down at the desk for maybe 10 minutes before, 15 minutes before, and they will usher everyone in and make sure they're clear as to where they go.
Okay, so we have the motion. I'd like to just, if we can modify that a bit, Thomas, if we could just say the creation of the greeter, and the details can fluctuate. As long as we have the role, we can always adjust that.
Oh, create the role, okay, sure.
Okay, so we have the motion to create the role greeter, and that motion was made by Thomas. Is there a second?
I second.
Justin seconds it. We have a motion, we have a second. I call for a question.
Question. To all officers in this club, I can appreciate the need for this, but please explain to me what's in it for somebody taking on that role. Is there credit toward that in their competent leadership? Is there, an attaboy? Is there going to be a paper certificate? Is there going to be a badge that says step them up? What's in it for me?
Excellent question, and we didn't address the what's in it for me component. So that is clearly something we can address. Paula?
I believe I have a couple of extra Step It Up pins. We could definitely do that. We could definitely do a certificate. I think the main benefit to the members is that this fulfills one of the things that we talked about as needful in this club, is to make certain that our guests feel welcome. So we're trying to fill that.
Since it is one of the 6 elements of a club health, it's looked at when we're visited and evaluated by area governors such as Forrest, such as Randy used to do, and look at how are we welcoming. It also benefits our club as far as getting our members involved in welcoming others. So there is a sideline benefit there as far as a prize or an attaboy at the door. Justin may have an idea.
Well, we have befriended guests.
Yes!
From the CL.
Ah!
Yes!
Hello.
There you go! The
I need to
CL.
know.
He was waiting.
What if no guest comes?
That's fine.
Oh.
Well, no, it's not fine. We just gotta, we gotta do better.
We do find, though, that some guests don't get here until like right at 7 or just a few minutes after, and that's why we want them to stay a few minutes more.
I don't want to be the second-hand Randy.
Okay.
Question.
Any other questions? Yes, Helen.
Have we thought about expanding one of the meeting roles? Say, general evaluator could be down there greeting people and coming up at 7:05.
We discussed that. We thought maybe the odd counter, for example.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
grammarian is a role that a little bit more involved because you're supposed to be here when we gavel start to gavel end. The grammarian, the general evaluator needs to be here, but a minor role like a supportive role, excuse me, not a minor role. All roles are important. Odd counters or grammarians could very well be the greeter as well, so you could double up on that duty. It's not a single only duty. For example, you could sign up as humorist and still take another role, or sign up as inspiration and take another role. So it would be a role that would be just an additional role, and it's a great way to mix and mingle and practice our people skills.
And as we add to the membership, then we'll have more people.
We'll have more people to do that. So, any other questions?
It's a rotating position, right?
It's a rotating position, we'll volunteers, and then we'll ask for assignments. Hearing no other questions, I call for a vote.
I guess just my only other comment. For some of us, it is just impractical to serve.
Understood. Understood. Sometimes life and traffic gets in the way. Those are just things we have to bend and flex with. It's not like if you are assigned and cannot do it, it's not the end of the world. Or if you don't volunteer, again, it's not the end of the world. It's just something that we can use to involve other members of the club. Rather than just on hearsay, we would have something that people can see and confirm, oh yes, I'm supposed to be the greeter.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? No. Hearing none, I call for a vote. All in favor signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Hold on, I need the hands. We had a discussion, got to count the votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, Okay, I count 9. Bad Kathy. Okay, I count 9. Any nays? Nay. One vote or the other.
Oh, I didn't.
You had your vote up for the yay.
I put it down.
Okay, so 8. 8 and 2. 8 and 2.
3.
3.
4.
Who's the fourth?
No, you counted me twice. Oh, you got me already.
I adjusted that vote. So the nays again are, I need
I'm a
1, 2,
naysayer.
3.
So what?
Ignore the guy.
Oh! The motion carries. Thank you very much. We're already a day late and $1 short as far as the July 30th potluck. That we asked Calvin Chu to take that on. And he's got the list, but he hasn't done anything with it yet. I would like somebody to back him up. I'll be working with him as well, but I'd like somebody to back him up just in the event. And basically, the organization is decide on a theme or not a theme, but make sure that everybody understands to bring some kind of a dish. We're going to do a little potluck along with conducting a Moments of Truth, rousing around of table topics, club business, and we're done for the evening. That'll be our whole 2 hours, and food, of course. Oh, installation of our officers. And this will be for the July 30th. It's the 5th Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, I was gonna help Calvin.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you, Helen. I appreciate that. I'll make sure, you got the list in the mail? List of members?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Very good, thank you. Any other business?
Yes.
Paula?
Did want to bring up that in August we will have our club speech contest. It's the humorous speech contest, a 5 to 7 minute speech. Anyone can participate. And the evaluation contest, which is a 2 to 3 minute evaluation. We will need a target speaker, which I will arrange for, someone outside of the club. But just want to put that in your ear to think about. If you're interested in participating, call me for more information and we'll get you signed up.
What date is it?
It is going to be on August 13th.
Are you cheering the contest then, or are you having someone else cheer it?
I haven't gotten that far. I
Well,
will
let's
work
get
on
that
getting
far now
someone
because
else.
it's August.
Would someone like to serve as the chairperson for this contest? You can get credit in your competent leadership manual. It means that you won't be participating in the contest though. You can't chair it and
Crickets.
It's a really interesting thing to do.
We
Which
have
means
people
that
who
you're
want to
kind of-
compete then.
I'd like to compete.
Okay.
To be determined, because I signed up, I didn't realize that was going to be.
Yes,
so
and
signed
I
up for
didn't get it
HDL.
on here.
On that same week?
Yeah, so I didn't realize, that's fine, so let me think about it, I might.
Okay.
It's not on, it's not on.
It's,
the
yes, I missed that. When I
August.
looked at this, I told you those lines were really small for me.
Yeah.
And I'll take a roll.
Okay. Randy?
Division.
Oh, hold on a second, I'm sorry, we're still, I thought you were volunteering for contest chair for the club.
I got my own contest here.
But this will be a great primer for you.
Let me think about it.
Okay. What we need to know soon, very soon. All right, with that tabled, Randy has an announcement. Randy, please rise. Our division governor, Randy Ellington. Toastmaster of the year.
Blinking.
It does fit, doesn't it? We're having club officer makeup training, which is the day before our social on July 30th. The club makeup training is July 29th. It's going to be here in this room. Divisions D and E have combined for an Oakland-Berkeley area makeup training. The announcement has gone out. There's a RSVP, so at least the club officers who did not attend TLI are greatly encouraged to attend if at all possible. And I have a couple flyers to give you. And if you have any any questions, you can see me.
Do you need trainers?
No, we got
Oh, excellent.
Randy, do you need us to RSVP if we don't need to come?
Yep.
I did the training at TLI, so
Then
you want us to either way RSVP?
Yeah, so
or-
that we can at least know, because with the combined divisions, I don't know how many people are going to show, but we're probably have a lot of people on the show.
wait a minute, you want to confirm if they're not coming?
No, just if you're going to be here that day.
If you're going to be here, okay.
Just the
Confirm your
affirmation.
attendance.
Sure.
Okay. Because the registration's not set up for not attending. That would be, have to be.
Well, oh, by the way, thank you for setting that up. Give that one to Forrest.
Any other business? Ladies and gentlemen, going once? Yeah, Ovidio! Yes, sir, please rise. We're Toastmasters, we stand and speak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What about the vote on best speaker, best table topic?
Ah, excellent, good check, and I had not forgotten because I'm going to ask our Toastmaster to make that announcement. All right, well,
Okay,
you want to? Okay.
you can give and I will announce. So our best speaker is Thomas. Yay! Our best evaluator is Justin Lola, surprise. And our best table is Justin Lola also. So way down.
Photographs immediately
the swinger.
following our meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned. Paula?
Yes. Oh,
Gold. So what are these for again?
you
Bronze.
need to speak with Tashina and
Everybody
Ami.
should have been at the installation dinner. It was the blast.
Oh.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Go to the district. Facebook page. So,
These were like places.